Now, community, talkingalternative.com.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Secrets of the Sire. We talk comics, movies, TV, music, and pop culture every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on talkingalternative.com. I want to welcome everyone who is joining us via our Facebook page, facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire. I want to thank all the viewers. We got Dan T. Lawson, too, joining us via Periscope right now as a loyal listener to the show. I want to thank our new sponsor. We have a new sponsor, Sam. It's very exciting. Our new sponsor, Secrets of the Sire, is brought to you by the fun new card game the whole family can enjoy, Fun Food Flip. Having that holiday get-together and looking for a way to entertain the kids? Fun Food Flip is the game for you. Each player gets dealt a hand of food cards and must come up with the most gross, most interesting, and most delicious combinations for each of the 4 courses. Just wait to see what your kids come up with. If you like apples to apples, you'll love Fun Food Flip. Go to funfoodflip.com and watch the video on their site right now to get a taste of the good times to come. Very big thank you to our new sponsor, Fun Food Flip. Love having sponsors. If you would like to become a sponsor or become a patron, go to michaeldolce.com. It'll take you right to our Patreon page. That's how we ended up getting our new sponsor as well. We have dedicated fans, Einar Peterson and Ashley Haikai. Our program director, Stephanie Dolce. Our executive producer, Steve Hovecki. Our EP, Brian Phillips, as well, too. And as always, our Uber fan, Christina Dolce. I'm your host, Michael Dolce. Welcome to all who have joined us, again, via all our channels, which is talkingalternative.com, Secrets of the Sire Facebook, which is facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire, secretsofthesire.com, and, of course, via Periscope at Michael_Dolce. Welcome Scott Fortier, who's joining us live, and Brian Everham, who joins us every week as well, too, via the Facebook channel as well, too. I'm hoping Espada Primera Stark will make... and Espada Primera Stark just joined. See, this is great. This is good. I like it. We got. This is the fun hour. You know, we talk about fun stuff. We've got a great guest coming on today. His name is David Silva. He's a sculptor for NECA, the company NECA, specializing in collectible action figures. He's worked for McFarlane Toys and Hasbro, and I got to talk to him about his recently funded Kickstarter because I'm just insanely jealous, absolutely jealous. Scott Fortier, good evening. Good evening to you as well. Good evening to Chris Jack O'Donnell as well, joining as well too. Give a shout out to Brian, who we were talking to. Brian Phillips is one of our EPs. We have 2 EPs on our Patreon page, and they get an exclusive Google Hangout. So we actually hang out with them in the studio, virtually. So you guys could do it too for $5 a month. It's $1.25 a show. We do about 4 shows a month. Although this is November, we actually had 5 shows this month, so good stuff there. Randy Hogan, good evening, sir. We love it. We love it. All right, so we're going to talk to David a little bit later in the show. He's going to talk about action figures and his Kickstarter, which was really, really awesome. Beasts of the Mezosoic. Andre Tech, hello you. And we have a quick question already, so we'll field questions because this is anything we want to do. Do you think Batman will make an appearance in the Arrowverse or Red Herring? Oh, Dan T. Lawson, that is a good question. Will Batman make an appearance? Now, we obviously have a new Superman. It's in the Supergirl series, but they did a really nice job of actually publicizing that. I don't think it will, and I think the reason it's not going to happen is they've got the Batman universe locked into Fox right now. I think anything Batman related is going to go into Gotham. I don't think they're going to spill over into the CW. I don't think it actually benefits the studios and the networks to have that kind of crossover. They could do something, and it's excellent segue, Dan T. Lawson, by the way, too. We're gonna go over some Suicide Squad Easter eggs that have appeared that some people are talking to. The reference was just a remark. They like to say it's a connected universe, so they are playing off the connected universe. I just don't think we're ever going to see an actual Batman show up in the Arrowverse. I just don't. It's my own opinion. I was absolutely correct on Deadpool being a monster hit, so I know everything. Hall of Justice on Flash. Well, see, now you're geeking out to a Marvel guy here too. So this is something that unfortunately. I'm not going to be. Well, I mean, he's geeking out on the Flash universe and the Arrowverse. I know Sam watches those shows religiously.
They had Justice Society on that on Legends.
Yeah, but they do. But it's again, actually seeing Batman, I don't know. I'd be kind of surprised at that too. I would be very surprised. But hey, great segue again because we're going to talk some Marvel stuff right now. There's 2 new X-Men titles out. Well, not yet. Coming out in. So I'm a Marvel guy too, but it was awesome seeing it on Flash last night. Yeah, I'm with you. Anytime Greg Berlanti is just spot on with whatever he does. Right now, he just knows how to run a TV universe when it comes to this stuff. He's got it interconnected. Very Joss Whedon-like, if you had the Buffy and Angel verses kind of connecting and, things like that. So no question about that. But getting back to the main topic tonight, new X-Men titles. What does it mean for the future of the movies? Because this is actually a pretty big deal, right? So go to IGN.com. And anybody, obviously, who is a patron, $2 or above, got the show outline, so they got access to this about a full 45 minutes before we go to air. But Marvel Comics recently teased the return of the X-Men Gold and X-Men Blue. Now, for those of you who don't know what that is, in the 90s, this was Jim Lee, Chris Claremont, which is awesome. We actually have an awesome guest coming on next week, who wrote the definitive Chris Claremont, memoir, I guess is the best way to say it, or biography, or whatever the case is, about his time on X-Men. But unfortunately, this news broke this week, so we can't talk about it with him. We will talk about it with him, but we're going to talk about it tonight. X-Men Blue and X-Men Gold were the 2 different teams that were split up. So Jim Lee was in charge of X-Men Blue, and had Beast and Cyclops and Gambit, all the cool guys were on that team. Wolverine was on that one. And then you had X-Men Gold, that was Storm and Jean Grey, and Will Portacio and John Byrne wrote that one. We're talking about right when Chris Claremont he didn't get fired, but he kind of got forced off the book that he was on for 18 years. So it was split up. So Marvel's actually relaunching the X-Men books as X-Men Gold and X-Men Blue, 2-team comic books using the colored codenames from the 90s. You're going to have one is going to be led by Kitty Pryde, who's right now is off with Guardians of the Galaxy, so she's coming back. And the other is going to have the all new, all different X-Men that were introduced with Brian Michael Bendis, which is a real head scratcher. It was a good run because Bendis is a good writer, but the concept is very weird. It's like the original 5 X-Men, Cyclops, Angel, Jean Grey, Iceman, and Beast travel to the future and meet their future counterparts who then educate them, and then Iceman reveals he's gay. There's this whole thing. Yeah, it's like the future Iceman's like, hey, past Iceman, turns out you're gay. You never knew it. Yeah, it's crazy, but that's not the central arc to the storyline. That being said, there is an Iceman series coming next year in conjunction with this too. So they're definitely all about hyping that up as well too. But it's neither here nor there. So a couple things right off the bat. First, it's great to see the X-Men back in the forefront again, and they're actually showing. Randy Hogan, Psych, Gambit, Rogue, Jubilee, Psylocke, Beast, Wolverine was blue. Jean, Storm, Archangel, Colossus, Iceman, Bishop was gold. Yes, correct. Much more thorough than I was with my description, but I have been drinking, so that's not an excuse. Spot of Primera Stark. So is it a continuation when they came from the future in all-white Magneto? Yeah, actually, it is going to continue along with that. That's from what I've read. Mark Guggenheim is actually writing X-Men Blue. Mark Guggenheim has done stuff with Arrow. He's been on the TV universe. He's been in the movie front. He's done a lot of different things. So yes, it is going to continue some of that all-new, all-different X-Men that Brian Michael Bendis introduced with the time hops and the time warps and stuff like that. Though I thought it was kind of funny because at one point, I think X-Men Gold, is it? I could be wrong. I was reading, though, is going to be led by Magneto, and the writer, and I'll bring up the writer in a second. He was like, yeah, I thought it'd be really neat to have Magneto leading them because, what would these people think? Oh, no, it's X-Men Blue. He's like, well, what would these people think about, Magneto leading the X-Men? It's so crazy, right? It'd be like, no, they did that, dude. They did that like 20 years ago. Like, get into this. If Marvel was able to regain all of its movie properties, what story would you love to see? So now, another great segue into the question. What does this mean for the franchises? First of all, you want to have Wolverine in all of them, right? At Musty19985 just joined and gave us a little heart. That's very nice. You want to have Wolverine in the Avengers because he's been in Avengers. He's been basically cross-eyed. We want real Wolverine too. I mean, like I'm looking forward to Old Man Logan. Like I'm looking forward to the movie. I like Old Man Logan in the what do you call in the movie like Civil War 2 right now. I'm reading Civil War 2. It's kind of cool. He just had a cameo in this most recent issue, and that's pretty cool. It's a cool idea, but I want real Wolverine back, and I want Wolverine being like the main. I don't know. It's like. It's weird not seeing this because Marvel has, and this is the thing, this is a real thing. The Marvel-Fox feud, that's a real thing, okay? I have people that I know on the inside, and they're like, yeah, we really can't hype up the X-Men right now because Fox owns the rights to it. We don't want to give them anything. They shut down Fantastic Four. I mean, there is no Fantastic Four comic. The characters are still kind of sprung across like Human Torch and Thing. I think they're doing stuff with Guardians of the Galaxy right now. Reed Richards has kind of disappeared. All this kind of stuff. So there's no question about it. Marvel has made a legit effort to squash any X-Men properties. But now all of a sudden, look, there were rumors that Fox and Marvel kind of did a little uniting already. We talked about it on a previous show. You can go to, and Sherry Rodriguez, always enjoy your talks, Mike. Yes, right back at you. And a woo from Jack O'Donnell, because, woo. There were rumors Deadpool and Guardians collaborated. In order to get Negasonic Teenage Warheads in Deadpool, they had to agree to have, I think it's the Living Planet in Guardians 2. Dan T. Lawson says, let's hope no more Fantastic Four movies. Oh, Ego, the Living Planet. Yeah, you're right. See, this is good. This is what I like. This keep me honest, people, because there's definitely a lot going on. And that's another thing, too, with the X-Men franchise now, both movie and with, the actual comics and stuff like that. Continuity is such a mess right now. It's such a mess. Like I couldn't tell you what's happening. Like I could give you an entire timeline from the X-Men from maybe the Chris Claremont relaunch back in 1975 all the way up to maybe 2000. I want to say 2005, maybe 2005. So and then after that, it just all goes to hell at that point. I mean, there's no keeping track of the timeline. It's just god awful. But anyway, getting back to it, that Marvel Fox feud was a real thing, but now it's kind of going away a little bit. Now it's kind of going away, and we got Deadpool and Guardians collaborating, and then again there was that Slash Film article. There was the podcast where the one reporter was like, little birdie told me they're working on something. They're working on something. No matter how minuscule it might be, Even the even the collaboration of Deadpool and Guardians. Yeah, Guardians, Dan T. Lawson said, it's not going to be, you're not going to see it in Guardians 2, the Ego, the Living Planet. It's there for future use now. But even the fact that they're just talking and they're kind of doing this, and now all of a sudden Marvel's like, no, we're going to bring X-Men back. Because they've been pushing Inhumans, and that's the big thing, right? Inhumans are essentially... I mean, I can picture the meeting, right, with some of the TV guys or the movie guys or Kevin Feige or whatever. So what's the difference between Inhumans and mutants? Mutants are born with the gene. And what do Inhumans do? Well, they get activated they have the genes in them, but then they get activated by this mist. And it's like, so they're basically the same thing, right? So we could just be pushing Inhumans this entire time. So when we come back, actually this really great article from comicbook.com talking about how Inhumans are actually a pale comparison to the X-Men. And we're going to dive in deeper and appreciate everyone staying on the lines here. We got a lot of people on. And then a little bit later, we're going to have David Silva from NECA joining us as well, too. So be back very quickly after this commercial break.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Hello, I'm JC.
I'm Joan.
And welcome to 21st Century Entrepreneur. We bring education,
insight,
knowledge,
awareness,
trouble,
craziness, and fun for you, the entrepreneur who's looking to build your business.
And your community. Listen every Friday from noon to 1 Eastern on talkradio.nyc. And you can tweet us at 21st CE Radio or Talk Alternative.
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
Welcome back, Secrets of the Sire. We do this every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, talkingalternative.com. Want to give a shout out to Marcus Perry, who just joined, a good friend of mine. We're going to get him on the show at some point. He's doing some really outstanding stuff. I think he spent his birthday with, Scarlett Johansson, doing a little filming out there in Tokyo for Ghost in the Shell. We're going to get him on here at some point. Shout out to Fika Leone. Yes, we have to give a shout out to Fika Leone because he's our resident troll. I did not die in a horrible house fire yet, but we love you. You know what? Well, Dan T. Lawson gets, and Espada Primera Stark. Let's give them some love. I don't want to encourage everyone to just troll me mercilessly, so I'll give them shout outs on the air. No, it's good to have everyone here. We're talking X-Men right now, and we were talking about the possibilities when X-Men coming back now. Marvel is actually, it's like little things, right? There's this whole resurrection thing going on. There's definitely a shift now. Now, it's kind of funny, too, because they mentioned, last week we talked about it, or the week before we talked about it, Inhumans is getting its own film. It's getting its own IMAX movie, and then it's getting its own TV series. So it's not like they're letting up on Inhumans. But at the same time, that thaw is happening between Marvel and Fox. Like, it's little things like this. It's little things where all of a sudden they're, promoting things and creating new comics. But great article, comicbook.com. Inhumans are a pale comparison to the X-Men. They just are. That's what the article was all about. The Inhumans are more like Marvel's versions of the Addams Family. They're eccentric and weird, but don't quite fit in. And they didn't have to find each other. They were born into a family with established traditions and rites of passage who were mostly content to live apart from compared to mutants who are forced into the public eye and burdened with building a culture of their own. Now, here's what I would say about the mutants versus Inhumans. Essentially, yeah, I guess you could boil it down. They are kind of the same in terms of the powers. But, the whole struggle with X-Men is, these are people that are feared. It's supposed to be this whole allegory for racism and xenophobia, which is not relevant at all today at all, right? There's nothing in society today that would be anything relevant to that at all. But so don't go on your Twitter or Facebook account these days. So that's my, unless you want to get trolled by Nick Spencer like I did. No, so, but for some reason the Inhumans just were never as cool as the X-Men and just never will be. Like, they were Marvel's little secret. They were there. So I'm okay with them. I'm okay with them going away. I'm okay with X-Men. X-Men were always, they were my favorite comic book back in the day. So if this means we're going to get better movies, Dan T. Lawson actually chimed in and asked, can you imagine the budget on the crossover between an X-Men and an Avengers film? That'd be massive. But it would be worth it, right? it would be so worth it. And look, Fox has every reason to do this, right? Deadpool obviously was a success for them. I don't think Deadpool 2 is going to be as successful. I think they caught lightning in a bottle. I think it's going to be very difficult to replicate, which just guaranteed them like a $1 billion box office. I just guaranteed them by saying that. But look at Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is doing crazy money right now, crazy money overseas. The Marvel ship knows how to do it. The Marvel Studios knows how to make sure that fans are not tired of seeing what they're producing. If they made the same Avengers movie over and over again, which is why Captain America was a little bit, the more and more you get into Civil War, it was essentially another Avengers movie. There's a fear of oversaturation. Look at the NFL. Just ask the NFL right now what oversaturating the market with different, with 4 different nights of football has done to their ratings. Their ratings have gone down. Marvel is smart enough to realize this. They're creating something different with Doctor Strange. They're doing something different every single time. Dan T. Lawson says, Strange was a niche comic. I'm glad to see it getting big. But you know what? it's getting big because the film was done as not a comic book film. That's why it was done well. That's why Deadpool actually made it. It was making fun of comic book films. It's something that kind of gives you this different, point of view that you might not get in a normal comic book film. Whereas you have something like X-Men Apocalypse. To be honest with you, I still haven't seen that damn thing. I'll see it. It's going to be on cable. I'm going to watch it on HBO. But that's my level of excitement, and that's my level of enthusiasm for X-Men films right now. And I think in general, while the first two films, from First Class did very well and Days of Futures Past did well, I mean, I think Marvel's done a good enough job, at least within the internal fan base, to kind of quell the excitement over X-Men. Would I have been more excited for Days of Futures Past and X-Men Apocalypse 10 years ago? Absolutely. Absolutely. But this is what they've done now. They've managed to quell everyone's kind of enthusiasm for X-Men. So now Spada Primera Stark, in that case, wouldn't Inhumans be ideal if plot is right? It would, but that's, so this is an interesting thing, right? And so Spada Primera Stark brings up a really good point, right? If they've been pushing Inhumans for so long, why do this now with X-Men? Well, okay, it's actually not that hard a question to answer. It's going to give you more money. It's just going to give you more money. Mo money. That's essentially what it's going to do. I mean, there's no question about it. I guess it's, do you cut off your nose to spite your face kind of thing? And that's what they've been doing. They've been doing that this entire time with Fantastic Four. They've been doing it with, well, I mean, again, they don't own the rights. They don't control the story. They don't, I mean, think about.
But doesn't it only benefit them if they help?
So Sam was saying, I don't know if you can hear. You say you got to talk in the mic, Sam. I mean, do you do radio? Come on. What are you talking about? Yes, it would benefit them. However, I don't think it's going to benefit them to the point where having total control would benefit them even more. I mean, if you can control the message, I mean, we're just talking about basic business now, right? I mean, forget all the fanboy stuff. I mean, we're like drooling over the possibilities of an X-Men, being entered into the Marvel universe. Just like we can't wait. I mean, I can't wait for Spider-Man next year. Now that he's in the universe, like how great is that going to be? It's going to be amazing. You're going to have. Just pull away, though. Think about it from a business standpoint. Control the message, control the branding, control everything. Maybe they're looking at what Fox is doing with X-Men, saying, you're diluting our brand. You're actually hurting us. You're putting a movie into the public, consumption that is not going to help what we're trying to do, and we're trying to move forward into this grand direction. Maybe they just see it as it's time to rein it in, and maybe this is the perfect time, and maybe Fox sees it's the perfect time, which I think they should. I think they would, and I think that we're kind of gearing up now. I mean, look, it's no coincidence that this is Inhumans versus X-Men. That's their big event in the comic books coming up in the spring. I mean, maybe they're just, they're bringing mutants back. When Scarlet Witch, said no more mutants 10 years ago in the secret, was it secret, whatever it was. Marvel is telling Fox they're not cool enough to sit at their lunch table. No, I don't think they are. I think those talks have kind of led to this. I think that's what it is. You wouldn't have this kind of stuff if that thawing wasn't taking place. I don't think it's a glove slap in the face of Fox being like, hey, step up to the big boys table. I think it's like, psst, why don't you back in the universe? Yeah, we kind of want you to help us out a little bit. Yeah, okay, great. X-Men, we're back. Look at that. I think that's how it goes. I think that's exactly the way it goes. All right, when we come back, we're going to have a really great guest on next. I'm very excited to talk to this guy. One of my biggest, it's going to be great. David Silva, sculptor for NECA, coming up next.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Hi, this is Rob Kay.
And I'm Callie Alpert.
And we're hosts of The Rob and Callie Show. Are you looking for a show that talks about real stuff like life, love, the pursuit of being yourself?
Then you have come to the right place, because we cover topics ranging from chivalry to gratitude to your relationship with money and everything in between.
So listen to us on The Rob and Callie Show, Tuesdays, 8 to 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on talkradio.nyc.
Talking Alternative Radio. 24 hours a day.
Welcome back, Secrets of the Sire. We do this every week on TalkingAlternative.com. We talk comics, movies, TV, pop culture. I want to remind our listeners out there, I've actually got a new book out in stores today. It's Grim Tales of Terror, Holiday 2016 edition, so go check it out. I got a little 8-pager in there. That's a cute little Tales from the Crypt-esque kind of thing about a little kid who is searching for his Christmas gifts. He plays hooky to search for his Christmas gifts, and what he discovers is something about his parents he did not want to find. So it's a cool little horror tale. Zenescope is the publisher. We've had them on a couple times. Really great. So go check it out. It's in stores. You can go to my Facebook page, facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire. Put a link to it earlier today as well, too. And I want to thank, again, our new sponsor, Fun Flip Food. So go to funflipfood.com. Check out this really cool card game. It's an apples to apples kind of game. It's actually better than that, though. It's combines food and thinking, and it's great for the holidays. So go ahead and check them out as well. All right. I want to welcome our next guest. His name is David Silva. He's a sculptor for NECA, specializing in collectible action figures. He's worked at McFarlane and Hasbro and has recently funded his successful Kickstarter project, Beasts of the Mezosoic. David, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. Welcome to the show. It's good to have you on.
Thanks, Mike. Glad to be on.
So talk to me about your background, because I love figuring out, what path did you guys take to get where you're going. We had a sculptor on. His name is Enrico Botta. We had him on a few weeks ago, and he's done some stuff at McFarlane Toys. But I love hearing the journey just as much as the destination. So give us the background and how you got into all this.
Well, when I was a kid, I was really into comics, and I decided I wanted to draw comics for a living. And I found a school in Savannah that you could get a degree in sequential art, and that's like the right place to go. And that's what I did. So I was planning on drawing comics and taking all the classes, and eventually I realized that it wasn't the comics that I wanted to do; it was the concept design. Okay. And that during my education towards concept design, I also took an illustration major. I had a double major, and with that, I put together a portfolio for design and pitched that around some of the toy companies. And luckily, McFarlane was looking for a designer a few weeks after I left college, after I finished. And they gave me a shot, and they liked it, so I've been working in the toy industry ever since.
When you say you pitched it to the toy companies, I mean, was it like, did they post like a job offering at like Monster.com? Like, how do you get into how do you get in to pitch these toy companies?
It was I just happened to have my portfolio in front of them at the right time. I had no clue who was hiring. I must have sent out something like 12 portfolios, and McFarlane was a place I really wanted to work. The other ones would have been positive. I was a big fan of what they were doing, and it was crazy to think that I even had a shot.
Yeah.
They got back to me just 3 weeks after I graduated. I was like, wow, yeah, send me some work, and I did design work for them for about a year and a half freelance, and then they lost some sculptors, and I just happened to move up to New Jersey, and they said, "Can you sculpt? We lost some sculptors." I was like, "Okay," and the rest is history. Now I sculpt more than I design.
That's one of the very few stories I've ever heard where moving to New Jersey was a good thing. Like a positive actually came out of that. So you've worked for McFarlane Toys, for NECA. What's your favorite, job been so far to date?
You mean like what company or what project?
Probably project. I mean, I'm sure the companies, have nuances and different things. But what project to date is like your favorite?
I'd have to say the Pacific Rim Otachi. I actually I did a whole design drawing for that over my Christmas break one year, and I wanted to do it so bad. Up to that point, we hadn't done with the Pacific Rim, and I was trying to piece it out and give Boss Randy an idea of what it would look like, and eventually we got to it, and I was really into it, and I really was happy with the way it turned out. So
awesome.
That was a lot of fun for me, and I still enjoy having those figures around.
That's got to be fun too. I mean, your workshop must just be, littered with your creations all around you, right?
Yeah, mine and everyone else's. Yeah, anything is fine.
That's awesome. So I stumbled across this article from May of 2015 while doing some research for your appearance on the show, and the article is titled "David Silva Saved NECA's Godzilla." And it said NECA was going to release the Godzilla 84 on the left. They actually showed pictures of it on the article. And he said, I can't even begin how wrong this figure looks. What is worse is that NECA originally saw nothing wrong with it. So who or what made NECA change the head completely? David Silva, that's who. The hero that saved this toy. Silva is the one you and I should thank for the new head sculpt that is on our NECA 84 today. How does that feel?
It's cool. I wouldn't make a big deal about that myself, because I feel like everybody here, we make mistakes. Everybody's going to make a mistake sooner or later, and that one got out of hand. And I'm always paying attention to a lot of the comments, like the fan comments. I'm a fan myself, so I'm on a lot of the same stuff the fans are.
Yeah.
And they weren't just griping; they were posting legitimate arguments and comparisons. And I talked to Randy about it. I said we should probably do something about this. And he said, "Hey, it's already cool." And it's like, "Well, can we at least change the head?" And he's like, "Well, how fast can you do it?" And it's like 2 days. So that's what happened. And and by designing the head a certain way, it was able to shorten the neck by hiding part of the neck inside the head and then making the head new. So I really wanted to see the Godzilla line keep going strong, and I felt like since that was so early of a release, it could have hurt the line.
Yeah.
So it was really important to get a nice figure out. So
see, sorry.
Again, I take no pleasure in anybody making a mistake. I've done it. Everyone's done it. That one just became a big deal somehow. So.
No, but that's it sounds like your passion actually kind of came through though, and that's I think every fan would be appreciative of that. And obviously there's going to be egos that are going to be hurt or feelings that could be hurt, but ultimately your intentions were I love this toy and I don't want to see it. So I mean it sounds like it was a positive thing, really.
Yeah. No. It actually turned out pretty well, and I think that it also showed the fans that we are paying attention. We do want to put out the best product we can, and we do listen. So in the end, it was a good thing that happened.
Yeah, but
it's not efficient. So hopefully it doesn't happen too often.
You don't want to be doing any 2-day turnaround, last-ditch effort fixes, right?
No, I prefer to avoid that.
All right, talk to me about your Kickstarter. First of all, it's for the thing was Beasts of the Mezosoic, which is awesome. Some dinosaur, custom figures that you created. You asked for, or you were looking for $125,000, and you got $375,000. Are you rolling around in the money? Is your studio just covered in money right now?
It's so funny. Like now, the guys at work. Every time I bring up wanting to buy a Hot Toys figure or something like that, you just made a bunch of money. Just buy whatever you want now. I'm like, It's in a separate account. I'm not touching that money unless it goes towards the project. It's a weird thing having that kind of money, but knowing that I still need to live the way I normally live.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have all my expenses in my estimates. I'm going to get those soon, so
Sure.
I got to keep all that money for that, and most likely, almost all of it's going to go towards that, if not all of it. And it's very expensive to do these toys, and there were so many stretch goals that were met. So
Yeah.
now I have I think I have 25 SKUs altogether,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just thinking, it looks like a lot of money, but I hope I have enough. but yeah, this is my first time doing this on my own, and it's been a great learning experience. It'll give me a good idea of how to do it better next time as well. So
The
irony
irony is if you just outsource the work to China. See, that would be hey, this is really great. I got this money. I'm going to outsource it to China.
well, the mass production is going to be done there, but I mean, I still have to figure out what all the expenses are going to be for that, and that's all new to me. So I'm just kind of taking it one step at a time. But it's definitely exciting, and I'm glad I'm doing it. And I can't believe the response. I was very concerned that I would only make 3 figures. I mean, I wasn't sure if I'd get to the main 3.
Mm-hmm.
We hit the goal. I don't know, like 2 weeks in, I think, and I was thinking, oh no, I would keep the momentum going, try to reach the goal, and so I had to scramble to come up with some more ideas and did some drawings, and luckily, one of the artists that I worked with for the package art, Jonathan Kuo, he did some incredible art, and he was able to get all of the package art done before the Kickstarter ended, so
nice.
I could still show people what the Raptors would look like, even though I didn't have actual prototypes made yet, and I think that really helped too. So it's definitely just been like one thing leading to the next. I've been figuring things out, sometimes like up to the day.
Yeah.
So it's definitely been quite a journey, and I'm not even halfway there yet. So
it's funny. I've done because I do comics and stuff like that. So I've actually done 2 successful Kickstarters also, and I actually have friends who did Kickstarters who actually their Kickstarter was way more successful than mine. But mine was funded also. But I agree with you. I ended up when I ended up totaling up all the costs for everything, especially then contracting for like extra prints or sketches or this or that and the shipping and all that stuff. I'm sitting there like my wife is like, "Hey, you made some money off this," and then I was like, "No, here's my expenses." She's like, "Oh, you lost some money on this,"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know, especially the first time out. It's hard to know exactly how much everything's going to cost.
Yeah. And you don't want to ask, you don't want to over ask either. Like you might know that it's going to cost you, $10,000 to do something, but you might not feel confident you're going to get the $10,000. So you might say, all right, well, I'll do $5,000. So this way, at least I'll get funded. And then, so it becomes a juggling act there.
Yeah, because you want the price to seem achievable so that people will get behind it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to scare them off. And action figures just in general are so expensive. I mean, you really do need to have a good bit of money for something like that.
Yeah.
That's why it's companies that do it, not individuals usually. But yeah, I mean, the expenses, they'll get you, but that's why it has to be about the passion. It has to be about just wanting to see it happen. And that's where I'm at with it. Like if I had to, I would take a loan out and pay for any additional expenses just to get it done.
Sure.
Hopefully I won't need to do that, but I really don't know at this point. So
Jack O'Donnell just tweeted in, just checked out his Kickstarter. Those figures are amazing. Talk to us about the figures and talk to us about, exactly. We've been talking about the financial aspect to a Kickstarter, but talk to me about the actual project itself.
The project itself came about because throughout my time in the toy industry, this concept has arrived in different ways, in different forms, and it's reached different levels of completion. But for whatever reason, it would always get pushed to the side or canceled. And eventually I just got to the point where I was like, well, I mean, I have resources to make this happen on my own as long as I could find the money. So that's what I did, and I felt like it's really the only way it's going to happen, because the dinosaur toys that are out there, they're not that impressive, in my opinion. I mean, there's some good sculpting, but they're not articulated, and even those a lot of times are not very accurate. So I feel like there is a big market potentially for high-end dinosaurs and just animals in general. Really, you don't get that with animal action figures. You get that with human action figures all the time, and that's always getting bigger and bigger. Robots or whatever, and I love all that stuff, but we don't get that for animals. And dinosaurs specifically, I think people are really into, especially nowadays. And I have a huge love for that. I've been doing model kits based on dinosaurs for the last 6 years, and I felt like I had everything I needed to make this happen. So felt like, oh, why not give it a shot? And Velociraptor was a great place to start, and did some research, and I found that there were quite a few different figures I could make off of Velociraptor body, because there's a lot of similar animals like that. So, long story short, I wanted to see it happen, and I knew there were people out there that felt the same way. So.
Favorite dinosaur?
I'm gonna say it. You're not gonna know what it is, probably. Acrocanthosaurus.
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah.
Oh wait, it's that one. It's the one with the scales and the eyes.
It's got teeth and some claws. And it's pretty cool. You should look it up. Not something I'm going to get to anytime soon, but I have done 2 model kits. So.
Hockey Girl 30 just said Velociraptor is her favorite. So clearly you've got to connect her with the and then it came from the radio, just said Godzilla is their favorite dinosaur. See, it's all connecting back to the stuff you do.
Yeah, I love all of it. I'm happy. I'm very fortunate to be able to spend my time making these things, and I just love all of it. So I'm just going to keep doing it until I can't do it anymore.
That's awesome. So here we go now. What's next for you? Are you still doing stuff for NECA? Or are you now just focusing completely on the beasts of the Mesozoic?
No. I love making things, and I love working at NECA, and I love doing my own thing at home and whenever I can. So as long as I can keep doing those 2 things, I'll keep doing those 2 things. And NECA is. I look forward to coming to work every single day. I'm sitting in the parking lot of NECA right now as I'm talking to you, because I just left work.
Oh, wow.
And the projects here are awesome. The people are awesome. I'd be stupid to leave. So as long as I can do both, I'm all for it, and I feel like I can, because there's 24 hours in a day. I only need to sleep 5 or 6 hours, so it's not a big deal.
Everyone hates you. You're like enjoying life, and you're happy and fulfilled. Get off my show. What are you doing? No, I'm kidding. We want to thank you, David Silva. Thank you so much for joining us. You can find him on his Kickstarter page, Beast the Mesozoic, Facebook page, Creative Beast Studio, Instagram, Creative Beast Studio, website, creative-beast.com, Twitter, @beast_sculpt kit. That was a tougher one. See, you changed it up on me with your Twitter there.
Yeah.
David, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you'd like people to know about you before we cut to commercial?
No, that covers it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, when we come back, we're going to go spinning the racks, talking about the latest news in the comic book world.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Are you into comics, movies, and pop culture at large? What about music and TV? Then you're in for a treat. This is Michael Dolce, your host on TalkingAlternative.com. I've been professionally writing comic books, screenplays, and music articles for almost 15 years. Catch my show, Secrets of the Sire, at its new primetime slot, Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and get the inside scoop on the pop culture universe you love to talk about. For more info, go to secretsofthesire.com.
TalkingAlternative.com.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. I want to thank our guest, David Silva, again from NECA. He's doing just some awesome things, we joke. At Hockey Girl asked, we had someone else asked, do I live in Manhattan? No. At Hockey Girl 30 said, upstate, Long Island, or one of the boroughs of New Jersey. Well, we're broadcasting out of Manhattan. We're on the Upper West Side. Come take a trip down here at some point. I think one of my Kickstarters I did, we actually had that as one of the rewards. I would literally fly you out here, but we never got that going. But yeah, we do this every week. We talk comics, movies, TV, pop culture. Randy Hogan, been enjoying the show, good sir. Got a jet for now. Try to catch you next week. You'll do more than try, sir. You'll make it. Hockey Girl 30, we do this every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. I know, she's 60 miles north of Manhattan, so see, she's local as well, too, so it's good stuff. But yeah, we've been talking about a lot of things today. We talked about X-Men, X-Men Blue and Gold, and what that means for the future of the movie franchises. At Rezzioui, Rezzioui, in February, I will visit Manhattan. Well, good luck. Coming in February, though, that's a terrible time to come. But, I mean, it'll be cold, you know. I mean, it's awesome to come, and we welcome Espada Primera Stark back. See, Espada Primera Stark has it down pat on the Periscope show, though. He ducks out for the commercials, and then he comes right back in. So, just completely, that's the way to go. All right, we're going to do a little bit of spinning the racks, and then we're going to kind of go full circle a little bit to talk more about the X-Men stuff, because Sam actually made a really good point off the air. And actually, you know, before we spin the racks, and no, I do not speak French. My wife speaks French. Sam had a good point, though, too. The irony to this Marvel-Fox, feud thawing and this and that. And we were talking about the fact that X-Men are now back. They're doing a whole X-Men push at Marvel Comics. And she's definitely, it's definitely a good thing, right? It means that there's a thawing going on in this relationship, and maybe, just maybe, we'll get some of that crossover that Sony's kind of been involved with Spider-Man now, and having Spider-Man in the Marvel Universe. Maybe we'll get a Wolverine in the Marvel Universe. Maybe we'll get Deadpool in the Marvel Universe. Maybe we'll get, basically unifying the characters that in the comic books get to basically do whatever they want, right? I mean, they get to bounce around. Human Torch and Thing are in Guardians of the Galaxy right now. Wolverine's been in the Avengers a million times, and, Beast is in the Avengers. You get to do all these fun things that you can't do in the movies because the franchises are owned by different licenses. That being said, though, Sam actually had a great point, though. Back in 2000, the reason Marvel's in this predicament is they were bankrupt. They went bankrupt in 2000. The licensing deals to Fox actually helped rejigger their entire company and get them back to where they're now, exactly who they are. They're Marvel Comics now. Selling the licenses actually saved them. And not only that, though, but the X-Men movie kind of started the whole comic book movies can be successful. And then you had the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man in 2002, and that was done by Sony. And again, it was licensing out. It wasn't until later on when Marvel was like, wait a minute, we should just do our own studio, that they kind of wised up and were like, hey, you know what, we can do this on our own. For every X-Men and Spider-Man movie, though, you also get a Hulk movie, you get a Fantastic Four movie. They're very careful about their brand, but yeah, they do owe a lot to Fox, and Sam made a really good point. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see X-Men, and not only am I excited to see X-Men back in terms of what can happen for the movies, but I'm an X-Men comic fan, and I've tried reading it. And it's just awful. Like, the books have been just awful. I think I picked up the recent X-Men run last year with, like, Psylocke. All these, like, extraneous characters who aren't appearing in the movies. They kind of, like, put Psylocke in the forefront because they knew she was going to be, like, the featured X-Man in X-Men Apocalypse. But then they had, like, Sabretooth and Magneto. And it's like they're telling the same story over and over again. It's like, oh, this hate group hates mutants. And they're trying to exterminate mutants, and it was just like, it was like so dull. But to read what they're going to do with the new X-Men franchise and the new the new X-Men books, giving a little nod to the past, having an actual set teams, I think both of those, both of that to me makes it more exciting and sounds more interesting. And even Mark Guggenheim is like, no, we're not going to do, he's bringing back the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Hopefully it's not as, typical, but he says we're going to do things that, aren't just the same old story, which I hope they do. Honestly, Magneto doesn't need to be anywhere near an X-Men book. I know he's going to be leading one of the teams, but he doesn't need to be anywhere near this. Like, Magneto, to me, Grant Morrison's run in the mid-2000s, like, took Magneto, I think, as far as you're going to get it, in terms of getting it right, having him come in as Zorn, and then you didn't know he was Zorn, and then he surprised everybody, having him kind of leading Genosha and then getting attacked by the Sentinels. You thought he was dead, but he was really Zorn the whole time. To me, that's your pinnacle of Magneto. That's it. Like, I don't need to see Magneto back in the comics again. But again, I'm excited for that. I'm excited. All right. We are going to do what we do every week. We go spinning the racks, talking to you about the latest comic book news. And obviously the big news was the X-Men Blue and Gold. And we kind of, definitely talked about that a lot and what the impact's going to be and where Inhumans are going to go. But we're going to turn to a different universe real quick. We're going to talk about Archie. It gets a little weird, actually. Newsarama was reporting Archie debuts a sneak peek, and it very Twin Peaks-ish. Very Twin Peaks-ish. I'm going to tell you right now. So we're going to have someone from Archie on in the next couple weeks from the Archie comics. What Archie's doing as a comic book imprint is like amazing. Like, if anybody's a fan of the show, we talk about this kind of stuff all the time. We talked about it when Invincible Iron Man was like, we're going to replace Iron Man with a 15-year-old black teenager, black female teenager, because we're all about diversity. Or we're going to, swap out Mary Jane and make her, a Latino character instead, because, we want diversity and we want to force diversity and kind of cram it in and this and that. Archie Comics actually, is doing everything right. They have diverse characters. They keep introducing new characters. They had the first, not the first gay character, because gay characters have been there around for a while, but they made a big deal about it. But it wasn't that they turned Jughead gay. It wasn't that they turned Reggie gay. They created contemporary new characters. And they've basically now been molding and sculpting Archie and Jughead, well, not just Jughead, but the entire cast, to kind of fit the times. I believe Mark Waid was a writer on there as well too, and just doing contemporary stories. So taking these old-fashioned characters. I mean, they're old-fashioned characters. They're girl next door versus girl of your dreams. Archie's kind of stuck in the middle. He's a good old. It's gone now, and they've kind of updated it. And it seems like with the TV series now, is also kind of leaning toward that, where we're gonna do things a little different. It's not gonna be this 1950s Archie. We're gonna do something kind of cool. So if Newsarama is comparing Archie to Twin Peaks, that's a cool thing for me. That's a cool thing. I'd like to see it. If it's just if it's just setting a tone and it's not gonna do that, well, I mean, at least it'll get me seated. It'll get me watching. So kudos to Archie. All right. We're going to talk some Walking Dead now. Jeffrey Dean Morgan confirms Walking Dead Season 8 for Negan. I know I will be on board for Season 8, Morgan said on the Howard Stern Show. We finished Season 7 a week ago. As for the immediate future, expect more Negan. After a brief 2-week absence from the show, Morgan's Negan will be a big part of the next 2 episodes, which are the final 2 of 2016, leading into the mid-season break. The next 2, I'm really big in. I'm effing heavy in those, is what Jeffrey Dean Morgan said. I don't know how much more heavy you can get. Gotta be honest with you, though, and we go onto our SoundCloud page, soundcloud.com/Secrets of the Sire. Go check out some of our past episodes. We talked about Walking Dead. We talked about that brutal opening. Extremely well done. We're not knocking the execution. We are not knocking it at all. But I gotta be honest with you, it has stopped becoming must-see TV for me. What's my Sunday night show I can't miss right now? Westworld. Got to see it. I mean, and I got Sam watching it. Now we're talking about the big revelation that just happened in Westworld this past week. We're not going to spoil anything. that's the show I got to watch. Walking Dead. Now, is Walking Dead just a casualty of being on for 7 seasons? Maybe. But at the same time, that opening episode with Negan was just so brutal. Like I almost need to just be away from Walking Dead for a little while. About two or three episodes in to the season, and I'll watch the full season. I like Ezekiel. I like the introduction of that. I like how I do like how it's kind of turned into like a Sopranos-ish kind of thing where you have basically different families now kind of running things. There's turf wars. It feels more gangsterish to me, which is kind of cool because look, you do have to consistently transform what you're doing. I mean, there's no question about it. If you continually put out the same show, which they are doing in a way, right? I mean, they kind of did this once before with The Governor in season 3 and season 4, where they're trying to make it. This other group is trying to make it. The other group doesn't like the other group. They all fight, and then the zombies end up killing everyone. And you have to kind of you basically have to just get on the road again and find something new. That's going to grow stale. This, I like the sense that these communities that they're part of, Alexandria and the Hilltop and all this other stuff, and Ezekiel's realm, it seems like they're a fixed community now. It seems like they're adjusting to the apocalypse in the sense, and now we're really getting into the human beings, which has strips away all law and all decency, and now it's just bare bones. So I appreciate what they're doing. I still need a little break. So and Negan's just. I don't know. This is articulate. It's good radio right here. It's good radio where I can't tell you what it is. Sean Batewell, Yankees is written backwards on your hat. No, it's not technically. It's actually written correctly, but it's a reflection of the character, Sean, of the camera. This is me just stalling. Hey, when we come back next week, we're going to welcome Jason Powell, author of the definitive Chris Claremont book. He's going to break down his epic 18-year run, which is awesome because now we're going back to X-Men Blue and X-Men Gold, which is what we kind of talked about today. And I know he knows. He goes, I know it's not written there. I know. But yeah, we're going to welcome Jason Powell, author of the definitive Chris Claremont book. We want to welcome and thank David Silva for joining us, talking about dinosaurs and action figures. Awesome stuff. I want to thank all the people that chimed in today on Facebook. Sean, I love you. Jody, congratulations on the new baby. Sherry, it's good to see you. Randy Hogan, Jack, I think I covered it. Marcus Perry joined for a little while. We love him too. Espada Primera Stark, we love you. We love Fecal Leone. We love Fecal Leone. We love his brand of off-color humor. And Dan T. Lawson, and I'm sure, and Hockey Girl, I hope you join us next week as well, too. This has been Secrets of the Sire. Catch us every week, 8 p.m. Eastern, talkingalternative.com.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.